World's Guide.
The history of the conflict between South Korea and North Korea is a complex and multifaceted one that spans several decades. It is rooted in the division of the Korean Peninsula following World War II and has been marked by political, ideological, and military tensions. This conflict has had a profound impact on the Korean people and the international community. The roots of the conflict can be traced back to the end of World War II in 1945 when Japan, which had occupied Korea since 1910, was defeated. At the Potsdam Conference, it was decided that the Korean Peninsula would be divided along the 38th parallel, with the Soviet Union administering the North and the United States administering the South. This division was meant to be temporary, with the goal of reunifying Korea under a single government. However, as the Cold War deepened, the two superpowers became increasingly entrenched in their respective spheres of influence, leading to the formal establishment of separate governments in the North and South in 1948. The North Korean government, led by Kim Il-sung, embraced communism and sought to reunify the peninsula under its rule. In June 1950, North Korea launched a surprise invasion of South Korea, sparking the Korean War. The United Nations, with the support of the United States, intervened on behalf of South Korea, while China and the Soviet Union provided military assistance to North Korea. The war lasted for 3 years and resulted in millions of casualties, including soldiers and civilians from both sides. It ended in 1953 with an armistice agreement that established a demilitarized zone, DMZ, along the 38th parallel and effectively froze the conflict without a formal peace treaty. Following the Korean War, the two Koreas pursued contrasting paths of development. South Korea, under the leadership of Park Chung-hee, embarked on a policy of rapid industrialization and economic growth known as the Miracle on the Han River. This approach transformed South Korea into an economic powerhouse and brought about significant improvements in living standards. Meanwhile, North Korea, under the leadership of Kim Il-sung and later his son Kim Jong-il, adopted a state-controlled economic model and focused on military buildup. The regime's ideology of Juche, which emphasizes self-reliance, became a central pillar of North Korean society. Throughout the Cold War, the two Koreas engaged in occasional border skirmishes and acts of aggression, but full-scale military conflict was avoided. However, tensions remained high, and both sides constantly prepared for the possibility of renewed hostilities. The South Korean government pursued a policy of engagement with the international community, seeking to improve diplomatic and economic ties with other countries. In contrast, North Korea pursued a more isolationist approach, often engaging in provocative actions and rhetoric to assert its independence and gain concessions from the international community. In the 1990s, North Korea faced a severe economic crisis following the collapse of the Soviet Union, its main benefactor, and a series of natural disasters. Famine and widespread poverty gripped the country, leading to a deterioration of living conditions for many North Koreans. In an effort to alleviate its economic woes, North Korea sought engagement with the international community and agreed to participate in talks aimed at resolving its nuclear program. However, progress in the negotiations was slow, and North Korea's nuclear ambitions remained a major point of contention. The 21st century witnessed several significant developments in the South Korea and North Korea conflict. In 2000, the leaders of the two Koreas, Kim Dae-jung and Kim Jong-il, held a historic summit in Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea. This meeting resulted in a joint declaration that aimed to promote peace and reconciliation between the two countries. Subsequent inter-Korean summits took place in 2007 and 2018, signaling a desire for improved relations and denuclearization. However, progress towards lasting peace has been elusive. North Korea's pursuit of nuclear weapons and long-range ballistic missiles has been a major source of concern for the international community. The country conducted its first nuclear test in 2006, sparking condemnation and the imposition of economic sanctions. Despite diplomatic efforts and the offer of economic incentives, North Korea has continued to develop its nuclear capabilities, conducting additional tests and missile launches. The conflict between South Korea and North Korea reached a new level of tension in 2017 when North Korea conducted a series of missile tests, including its first successful intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, launch. These developments, coupled with bellicose rhetoric from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and US President Donald Trump, raised fears of a potential military confrontation. However, a significant thaw in relations occurred in 2018 when Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in met in a historic summit in Panmunjom, a village located in the DMZ. The summit resulted in a joint declaration that emphasized the goal of complete denuclearization and the establishment of a peace regime on the Korean peninsula. Since then, inter-Korean relations have experienced periods of both progress and setbacks. North Korea and the United States engaged in a series of high-level talks, including summits between Kim Jong-un and President Trump in 2018 and 2019. While these meetings raised hopes for a breakthrough in the conflict, negotiations eventually stalled, and no comprehensive agreement has been reached on denuclearization or the lifting of sanctions. In recent years, North Korea has continued to develop its nuclear and missile capabilities, conducting multiple tests and demonstrating advancements in its weapons technology. These actions have heightened tensions and further complicated efforts to achieve lasting peace and stability in the region. The conflict between South Korea and North Korea is a deeply entrenched and complex issue with no easy solutions. It involves a mix of political, ideological, economic, and security considerations that have evolved over time. Efforts to resolve the conflict require sustained engagement, diplomacy, and a willingness to address the underlying causes of tension. The goal of achieving lasting peace and reunification remains a daunting challenge, but the desire for a peaceful resolution and the well-being of the Korean people continue to motivate international efforts to find a path forward.
World's Guide